Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Otherworldly TCG set review. This time breaking down Core Set 2025 Light Element. I'm joined with set designer Tom the Boss Ross. Tom, how are you today?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Ready to get started? We are kicking things off with a old favorite, and we're going to go through some reprints in the beginning. This is Luminoria, a 3 mana 0/8, so hard to get rid of with the otherworldly mechanic. So bring that otherworldly back. What was the thinking around this card?
Yeah, there's one otherworldly per element. That's a reprint, and this is the one that we picked for light. Um, Gives you your light champion +3/+3 for as long as it sticks around.
Yeah, and it comes down pretty early, so and Light has some really nice low early curve cards. So buffing them up with that Luminoria is a great option, and also it's hard to get rid of as a 0/8. Speaking of early drops, we moved into Bookworm, our next drop, and this is a 1 mana 1/2 with the Bless mechanic. So obviously Bless, I staple and light back in Core Set 2025.
Yeah, this is the best cheap bless effect around, and it doesn't have any of the evolutions or anything, but very efficient for its price.
Yeah. Also a staple in draft. Moving on to the next card we're going to debut. This is Miri, another old favorite. This is a 2 mana 3/4 with retribution for what was the thinking around this card and where it slots in?
Just gives light a good little sweeper. It's only rare, so anybody really has access to it. Um, yeah, it's just a solid card. It's showed up in a lot of tournament decks, and I think it'd be good just as a card in the core set moving forward.
Yeah, this card also plays into lots of different ways to play with your opponent. You can do tons of things like, icicle it, other ways to kind of kill it on your own. We move into its evolution line here. This is the Reflector, also a rare, another nice draft card sweeper, and this is a 5 mana 8/8 with Retribution 4. We're just looking at a bigger version, right?
Yeah, it can attack and live sometimes, but oftentimes you don't want your retribution to like survive a combat. So in some ways it's a little bit worse, but usually you're going to want to evolve it into this next form when you give them the chance.
Yeah, love these art, both of these cards as well. Next up, we have a really important and essential part of this set. This is Glowfruit, a staple from the heyday of Otherworldly TCG. 1 mana 1/1 with Aegis. But what's the thinking around Glowfruit in this set?
Well, it works well with the bless, and light is all about bless, especially in this core set. But glow fruit is especially important because we have the fruit splash mechanic, and when you see that, it's just like shatter, but in this case, it creates two glow fruits instead of two ice cubes. So it's kind of a light version of shatter.
Yeah,
You can
and we'll
draft glow
get
fruit
to
too.
that. Awesome. And we'll get to that in a couple as we get into some of the newer cards. Next up, we have the evolution of Glowfruit. This is a 5 mana 8/8 with Bless 3. And does this get a benefit from all of the Glowfruits that are going to be floating around with these triggers?
Yeah, there's already a lot of glow fruits just floating around because it's a draftable card, and glow fruit kind of lives because it has Aegis, so it's gonna have to take like two attacks for them to get rid of it. But yeah, it evolves off the natural glow fruit and the fruit splash glow fruits, and it's gonna be hard to attack all of them. So mist fruit as a common is gonna be one of the best and most reliable ways to evolve here.
Yeah, and then obviously it's even harder to get rid of when you have so much Bless going around. Speaking of Bless, we have our next card here. This is GOT, another throwback staple. 2 mana 3/4 with Bless 4.
Yeah, I've got
So
the whole GOT line here. Just really want a density of blessed cards, and I mean this is one of the best blessed lines that we saw in Generation 4, and it's gonna perform pretty well tier 2.
all right, and that one checking in as a common. So another nice spot on the light curve for the draft decks. Next up, we have Geotesh as a 5 mana 7/7, so a much bigger version of that GOT. Also evolves, and then Bless 6 as opposed to Bless 4. And following that up, we have Soul Ganesh. This is a 7 mana 9/9 with Bless 8. So just, huge stats, but coming in as a mythic.
Hmm. Yeah, probably won't play that in your deck. Probably won't get it much in draft, but it's great to evolve it if you have some time warp stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point. Next up, we have another old favorite, the Ankia the White, 2 mana 5/4 with Light of Aldrich. And how does this position in the set?
Well, there's one hero per element in the main set, and then there's one crafted, and this is a reprint from Generation 4. That's also a hero. But yes, just a very strong card. 2 mana, 5/4 Light of Aldrich. Just very solid. It's usually a 2 for 1. And it's a hero too, so you can play it, as as a hero, and just do that as your deck that you bring to rank.
Absolutely, and that is a diamond there. Next up, we have another diamond, and this is really splashy. We have the Glimmer Pina. Speaking of splash, 4 mana 9/9 with Fruit Splash. And wow, the stats on this card, unbelievable. This is a throwback to the old Gen 1 days.
Yeah, we haven't seen a 4 mana angel. In this case, it's a pineapple angel. Since yeah, Gen 1 that had purity and sin. Fruit splash, yeah, like I said, when it dies, it makes 2 blue fruit. Hard to make use, especially on a 9/9. So you see like raw stats here, and it doesn't have a come into play effect. So it is kind of vulnerable, but it is huge. And if you have to kill it the old-fashioned way, then they're gonna have a hard time doing it, especially for such a cheap cost.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen in other elements the ability for rally as a mechanic to stick around, and Glimmer Pina dropping those double glow fruits that also benefits any type of rally strategy. All right, next up we have the let me pull it up. The Owlier. The Owlier is a 2 mana 3/5 with Purify. Talk to me about Owlier in this new set.
Yeah, so we have a purify line of owls, and purify just it resets the stats of whatever champion it targets. It can target your own or target the opponents, and it prevents any triggered abilities happening from that champion as well. And this is like a cheap effect to solve some problematic champions on the opponent side, or if you have something that took some damage, you can reset that to full toughness. So it's a two-way effect, and you can kind of pick and choose which ones you're doing based on whatever the game state is.
Yeah, it can also help you play around some big cards like, the mechanic Slay. That's really interesting. And I also it sort of has a almost like a life bloom effect where yeah, if you're saving one of your own champions that's been, damaged after you get an attack in, then you're able to boost it back up. It follows up its evolution line, which is a rare. This is Alu, 4 mana 6/8, also with Purify, and we move on to the owl right. So that's all with Purify on this owl line, 6 mana 9/9, but the owl right has Purify and Retribution. So what is the thinking around the combination of those specific mechanics?
Yeah, with this purify line, just want to have another retribution card in the set. It doesn't have the default 4 on there, but it does mean it's retribution 4, just like the rest of the effects in the set. Just a big version of it. A lot of the owls have pretty high toughness, and yeah, I think you should be able to evolve this pretty well, and it should just do a lot. Gonna nullify like an effect from the opponent's champion, or reset your own toughness while just being a huge body and a huge retribution effect whenever they do eventually get rid of it.
And being have that flexibility of the Purify as both offensive and defensive. Very cool. Next up, we have Velocicopter. So the Velocicopter is 2 mana 3/3 with Steel. Awesome to see Steel here in light. What is going on with this Velocicopter and where does it position?
Yeah, Velociraptor is known for stealing eggs. I think that actually is what it means. It means like egg thief or something. Yeah, 2 mana 3/3 steel, perfectly fine. Kind of like drawing a card yourself, but it does put pressure on the opponent's deck total because if they run out of cards and they're in big trouble. But yeah, just a solid little card. We thought about making 2 mana steals in previous sets, but it never came through. But I think it's a fine place to put it here. I think it's a reasonable card.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the ability to also potentially play into some supercharge, as we saw, there's some supercharge floating around in the set. That's really great as well. Next up, we have Cuddle Honk, 2 mana, 3/4, with a unique ability called Nesting. This part of a cycle in the core set 2025. What's going on with Cuddle Honk at this slot, and what is Nesting?
Yeah, 2 mana, 3/4 nesting. When it dies, it creates a 0/1 egg. In this case, it's going to be Ponk. And when that egg dies, you make a 2/2 bird. But you can also hatch from the egg, means you can evolve any light champion on top of it for just 1 mana, and you get to draw a card. So they need to get rid of the Cuddle Honk, and then get rid of the egg, and then probably get rid of the 2/2 that comes with it. So it's a lot of stats and a lot of pressure for a little cute little bundle here.
Yeah, really fun. I love the mechanic nesting. It's one of my favorite. I'm most excited to play with because we get to bring back those old original Gen 1 champions and the eggs. All right, next up we have Cammy. Cammy is a 3 mana 5/4 with Aegis. Uh, Talk to me about Cammy and where this slots in.
That's common. It's mostly kind of a vessel to put your bless effects on, since it has Aegis, and it lives since it has that Aegis more often than not. So you can evolve into the bigger version of it, the camouflage here.
Yeah, Camouflage is 5 mana, 6/12, so absolutely, bonkers stats there, and it has Elemental Aegis. So another one of those cards that plays into all of the glow fruit that's floating around, the nesting, the ponks. This is a card that gets a benefit when you have a lot of light champions.
Right, right.
Yeah, and I really love the stat line on that. Just 6/12, huge. Okay, next up we see Zebraku. This is a 2 mana 5/6 with poetry. And I really love that we just have some nice big satted vanilla creatures here. And Zenbra, the evolution of Zebraku, that Zabraku at 6 mana, 6 health is likely to stick around. So you have the ability to evolve it into this Zen Bra, which is also very good on its own, even if you don't evolve it. 4 mana, 7/7 with Bless 3.
Yeah, all cards don't need to be complicated like the Zimbraku. But yeah, you have the Zimbra, it's going to be good on glow fruits. At worst, it's a 10/7. It's probably going to affect combat a little bit, enable an attack that you otherwise wouldn't have. And it has a good, good, good final evolution here too in Zen Brahma.
Yeah, Zen Brahma at a mythic is a 6 mana 9/9. This has Mass Bless, so as we've been building all these glow fruits, we don't want to spend so much time blessing them all individually. We would just prefer to just Mass Bless them.
Yeah, Mass Bless basically says bless three all your champions. So itself gets +3 +0. So it's a 12/9. And of course, all the glow fruits become 4/1s and become immediate threats.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about that nesting mechanic in the set, dropping these ponks, the ability to cheat out as Zembrama. That sounds really fun, just as a big 12/9 on its own, even if you don't bless anything else. All right, next up we see the Braid of Dawn, part of a cycle again of the equipment in this set. The Braid of Dawn is a 1 mana 0/1 with Fruit Splash. And the equipments, what was the thinking around the evolution lines that are now attached to the equipments with the core set 2025?
Yeah, so previously equipments just sat around as 0/1s. You can like bless them. You can bless a Braided Dawn and get in there a little bit, but for the most part, they just kind of sat around doing nothing. But now you can evolve them into, a higher form. So it's going to put a little pressure on the opponent to actually get rid of them, if you're not like blessing them and doing stuff with them, and just lets them have a second life. And in this case, it
Yeah,
evolves into a big lemon.
yeah, this is Citron, 4 mana 6/6. This has Fruit Splash and Greed. So famously at the 4 mana slot, having a nice greed effect has always been really nice. But this pairs it with Fruit Splash, and it has the incredible 6/6 stat. So I think this card, it is a mythic, so it won't be floating around everywhere. But this is absolutely pushed.
Yeah, it's like a round champion is also a well-rounded card. It does something when it comes in play. It does something when it dies. It's big enough stats to like brawl around on its own, but not completely huge enough to take over the game. Comes at a 4 cost, which comes at kind of the middle of the game. Not too early, not too late. It's a very solid card, and if you can evolve it off Braided On, even better.
Yeah. All right, and next up we see the Felicia. This is 1 mana, 3/2 Light of Aldrich, so another really nice one drop option. This one's a mythic again, so not floating around a ton in draft, but this is pretty pushed as well, as the Light of Aldrich will bring it back for an additional attack.
Yeah, it's a solid little fox here. Probably maybe might could trade off with something and come back. It really can't survive combat all that well the first time, so it's probably going to die in 2 shots. But that's fine. It's only 1 mana card, and as we know about evolution cards, it's really important that it can stick around and survive the opponent's turn and evolve into what we see here in Felicity.
Yeah, and yeah, this is Felicity, so 5 mana, 6/8 Light of Aldrich, and that one slotting in as a rare, but the evolution of Felicia.
Yeah, so when you get Felicity, you're going to be looking for Felicity in drafts. It'd be like a heck of a combo too.
Yeah. Yeah, and Felicia too, the ability to trigger some things like wildfire, we're breaking these down by element, but it'll be great to see how these various different elements complement each other. But yeah, I'm just really amazed at that. That's some really push stats for a 1 mana card. Especially so many cards want those really cheap cards when you have Rally in the set. All right, next up we have Lion, this is 8 mana, 10/10. Talk about a beater. And this also has Light of Aldrich.
Yeah, it's a common. So it's kind of the thing you want to hatch out with when your Cuddle Honk dies, or if you're playing, gold in your deck, the 2 mana 4/04 egg. It's mostly like draft combo with nesting and a draft, filler if you need something at your 8 drop slot, or if you just, in your deck you just want something that costs 8, and that's huge. You can do that in constructed too if you felt like it.
Yeah, those stats too at 10/10, it keeps it out of the range of some of these big cards, these big sweeper effects that oftentimes aren't hitting these 10 health cards. But then you also not only do you survive those types of sweepers, but you also have the Light of Aldrich to bring it back. So you are spending for 8 mana for it, but effectively you're getting two cards, and each time at the 10 health slot, that's going to be really difficult to deal with. All right,
Yeah.
and next up we see Please Us. Please Us is a 4 mana, 4/10 with Provoke. And yeah, what's the thinking around this slot? Really strong Provoke card for light.
Yeah, giving light a little bit more provoke because it's kind of hard for it to protect itself. It's either your retribution, but that has to like die at a key moment. There's no like life gain, and there's like very little removal. So the protection of light is going to be like a little bit more provoke cards, and we've seen like 5/9s before. This is just kind of different stats. 4/10s, just maybe you want the extra toughness more of the extra power. We'll let people make some decisions here, and have a little bit extra added protection.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a rare, so that we'll see quite often in the drafts. And we follow that up with its evolution, which is Pleasure. 6 mana, 8/10. This with the double ability of it has Provoke, but it also has Retribution. So this one is really not messing around when it comes to defending the house.
Yeah, coming in as a diamond, it's really there to protect you. Provoke and retribution is a heck of a combo. So they have to get through with a pleasure here, and then they're going to get poor damage on all of their champions. So
Yeah.
it's going to take a lot to get through it. Hopefully they have something easier to get through it, like an obliterate effect or something. But again, if they don't, then they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, Obliterate obviously works really well with this, but not many other cards tangle with Pleasure. And at that 10 mana health, that's an important slot where it does dodge those sweepers and stick around and support you an additional turn. All right, next up we see Juice Breaker. Juice Breaker, 2 mana, 4/4 with Fruit Splash. Really nice stats, and it has the ability of making those spawns, those glow fruit.
Yeah, I found this is one of the best cards in draft. Yeah, it comes in quick at 2 mana. 4/4 stats are enough to brawl, but not and so high that you won't get your fruit splash fast. And yeah, you get the little the glow fruits there, and you can evolve Mister Fruit if you got that card too. And also, it just has a pretty good evolution.
Absolutely, yeah. Really like to see this juice breaker. It's a rare, so again, we'll see that quite frequently. And follow up by its evolution here, Vinny. This is a 5 mana 8/8 with Fruit Splash. And yeah, the juice breaker survives a turn, you're evolving it, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. Or if it died, maybe you're evolving it into the
The
mentioned
Mista Fruit.
Mr. Fruit. Like
Right.
it puts them in a tough spot. It's like, do they want to kill it or not? And if they don't kill it, then you can evolve into Vinny, which is a common. So you're probably going to have access to it at least. And just having a common fruit splash is great. So it just kind of has the higher density of the glow fruits running around. So your bless always has pretty good targets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you're
I
able
like
to
light.
boost up, yeah, that Mista Fruit. Yeah, perfect. All right, next up we have Ogoyle. Ogoyle rules. 3 mana, 4/4 with rally. Really nice cheap rally card here, and it slots in at a rare.
Yeah, it goes well with your glow fruits or just whatever you have laying around. Um, Rally's getting splashed around a little bit with among all the elements. It's mostly for water, but it's getting well, dabbled here and there. I believe this is the only light rally card.
Yeah, and it's uh at a great spot on the curve. Uh, Light always has those really nice 1 drops, 2 drops, the Light of Aldrich that we were pointing out before. So Ogoyle is going to come in here and really be a great way to ramp out, maybe even at turn 5 with double, 1 drops, and you're getting the rally triggers. So that seems to me like a really powerful card. And at a rare, you're seeing this in draft quite frequently. Maybe steers you towards a light sub theme.
Right, right. It's kind of a call it a signpost uncommon in Magic, but in this case, it's a rare. If you open it, then it's like, wow, I want to really go into the light direction and try to make the glow fruits happen. Pick a lot of light cards, and yeah, it's intended to give you that good direction when otherwise you're just kind of picking cards in the dark. I don't want all the cards, just be just in draft. You just pick the best card all the time. There should be some deck building around that to some degree.
Sure, and I'm even envisioning a scenario where you open up double oak oil, maybe in packs 1 and 2 or something like that, and
Hmm.
you might even get past an oak oil because maybe the other players aren't leaning that direction. So really awesome to see such a powerful card at such an accessible slot. Next up, we have the Minotaur. 3 mana, 6/5 with equality. Fun to see this equality effect here in light. What's going on with Minotaur?
Yeah, quality was just a nature mechanic, but dabbling into it with in the light here. Um, yeah, it's a solid little creature here. 3 mana, 6/5. About average for 3 mana rare card, but yeah, I'll say that light doesn't have many defensive mechanisms, so the quality is a tool for that, and then it has a pretty good evolution chain in case they don't want to kill it because you're at lower life or whatever. So it doesn't have actual defense to evolve, but it's kind of dissuading them from killing it a lot of times.
Absolutely. And so that evolution line is into the mythic minus spear. This is a 6 mana 9/9. This has double mechanics as well. Armored 2, making it that much harder to get rid of, likely to survive into an additional evolution line, but also it has greed.
Yeah, it's a 6 mana card you get paid for upfront, and it's going to be extremely hard to kill. If it's their only card, then Greed will get you 2 cards. The Armor 2 will probably mean it can take a ton to take it down. And hopefully the cards will catch you back up if you're just casting it naturally. If you're evolving it off Minotaur, then you're probably in really good shape.
Yeah, and it evolves into the actually factually unkillable Minosphere. 9 mana 10/20. Technically it can be killed, but with Armored 5 and Blast 10, it really doesn't seem like this thing's going anywhere for a long time if it drops down onto the battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a 2020 on its own, but the Bless 10 is probably going to affect combat pretty greatly. It's either going to let your champion trade off with something. Maybe you're doing the Bless 10 on like anything that has Aegis, even a Glow Freak to make it an 11-1. But yeah, the Minosphere is supposed to be really strong for a 9/9 card. And I really like how without having 1 mana eggs in the standard format, that the 9 mana cards can really have room to kind of blossom and kind of spread its wings out a little bit, and maybe the games last a little bit longer. People can cast these 9 mana cards, or if they have to work for it a little bit, like getting their cuddle honk killed, and then have play a provoke card so they can attack the egg, and then you can evolve your great 9 mana card. But you had to jump through a hoop or two to get to that point, but those hoops are going to be worth it.
Yeah, and we looked at a lot of these really nice retribution cards, so it almost seems like the emergence of some sort of control shell could exist where, you're looking at the top end of that curve being a card like the Minor Sphere. All
Mm.
right, next up we are going to debut Cotton. So Cotton is 3 mana 7/7, really push stats, coming in as a mythic, so it's a little bit harder to find in your typical packs, but it's not like it's a diamond. It is going to be a lot more accessible to players. And it has the insane 7/7 at that stat line with double strike.
Yeah, so Cotton is the first of our 8 crafted cards in light, and well, it looks pretty good. I mean, it attacks for 14. It's pretty strong. Um, but 7 toughness is something that can get hit by Hydro Blast. So it's going to be good in some matchups, but also vulnerable in others. But I mean, pound for pound is pretty hefty there.
All right. And next up, we are going to review the Tome of Living Will. This is a part of a cycle of cards in the core set 2025, which have the Otherworldly mechanic, also a crafted card at a mythic, 5 mana, 5/5 with Otherworldly. But the important part is that it has that additional attack value that no other Otherworldly has had.
Yeah, there's the cycle of this. They're all 5 mana. They're all 5/5s. Yeah, just gives you another reason to play deep into light. But now your other world can attack too, just like the rest of your champions.
Yeah. All right. And really excited to play with those cycles. I love the art. I love the name of that card. Next up, we have a really fun card, Hamsternicus. I'm such a sucker for these cute cards. I just want to, have him in a little pet as a pet. Hamsternicus is a diamond, but it's 3 mana, 2/8 with divine protection. So what's the thinking around this powerful card?
So divine protection means that you can't be damaged during your opponent's turn next turn. So it's a very powerful effect. Kind of makes them have to attack your champions, and you know that you're going to be safe for a while. The stats are kind of pushed. Uh, the 8 toughness might actually be a detriment, because one of the best ways to use divine protection in the past was to keep bouncing that card with uh with the whirlwind effect. But here, you're mostly going to have to cast it as something that saves you for a turn, and then the 2/8 can get in there. It's not bad stats, and it has a lot of toughness to go along with like the bless effects that light has.
Yeah, very cool. And I could see this playing nicely into some sort of reanimator shell as well if you need that additional health value. All right, next up we have Buzzlet. Buzzlet 2 mana, 3/5 elemental guard. And this is slotting in as a rare. What's the thinking around Buzzlet?
Yeah, with Generation 3 rotating out, they did a lot of elemental stuff within their crafted cards. So we're kind of just bringing that back in just like a different kind of form. I don't think Light had much going on for elemental guard for cheap cards, so it's going to be a little bit different. This evolution line is trying to fill that kind of void, but it's going to do it in a different way than that's what's been done in the past.
Yeah, well, we talked about some of those, answers to some of these light problems that are being posed, being cards like Obliterate or those types of effects. And Buzzlet comes in at a nice 2 mana card and gives you the protection against those cards and really lets you go pound for pound. And when you're doing that combat math, but you have the benefit of these fruit splashes and all these bless cards, if you're able to protect the really important parts of your build with Elemental Guard, that seems really, really advantageous. And it also has an evolution line, so we're going to move to the next card as of that line, and this is the 4 mana 7/7 Elemental Aegis, the Comb Drone.
Yeah, it's a solid little elemental Aegis. kind of evolve with the Buzzlet. The Buzzlet has 5 toughness and elemental guard, which is obviously a combo with like the provoke retribution creature. And yeah, it's just getting you paid on having a wide board of light cards. Getting that extra stack of ages per other light champion you have goes great with the glow fruits and whatever, or just whatever you have. The light of Aldrich champions
Yeah,
pretty
just
solid.
4 mana, 7/7 Aegis sounds really good. That sounds really pushed, but then you get the ability of the Elemental Aegis, just absolutely insane. Okay, next up we have the final evolution line, and sometimes you don't want to evolve it, a comb drone, when it has so many shields. Maybe you want to leave a few of them lingering around, get those additional attacks. But this time you definitely want to evolve it, the Hive Monger, 8 mana, 12/12 Elemental Fury. What's the thinking around the Hive Monger?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a crafted card, but it probably can evolve off the Comb Drone since Comb Drone has so many stacks of elemental aegis. And yeah, it's gonna kill somebody really fast. It's for an 8 mana card. Um, it's gonna require an answer pretty quickly. Hopefully, you have a Buzzlet around your second copy or something, and so they can't target it and kill it easily. But yeah, it's gonna win the game on the spot probably if it gets to attack.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's gonna likely linger around too with that 12 health. Not often cards are gonna be trading with this, so it's at least a 2-for-1 right there as well. All right, next up we see a mythic here. This is the crafted mythic, the Cacti of Peace. Love the name of this card, love the art, everything about it. 2 mana, so really low curve here. 1 mana, double mechanic. It has provoke, and it also has purify. What's the thinking around this card?
Yeah, it's just an efficient defensive option for light. A lot of light in the past have been, playing the Aldrich hero, playing the low curve, buffing stuff with bless. Things are resilient with Light of Aldrich. This is more of like a defensive option for people that want it, and I think it's pretty well statted. Um, it's kind of like the Boldo, the O7 for one, but a 2 mana 1/9. That's going to be hard to get through, even if you don't get any value off Purify.
Yeah, and that Purify we talked about before does have that double-edged way to be both used as an offensive or a defensive tactic. Really like this card. Interested to see how this slots in because not every deck, like you said, is really going to want this, but the ones that are looking to push a little later game and go longer, I think that Cacti piece really valuable for them. And next up, we see Prince Turt, the Lily Cultivator. Love the name of this card. I love the art. 3 mana, 4/4 Blossom and Mass Purify. Wow, at 3 mana, that is extremely pushed.
Yeah, so this is the hero, the crafted hero of light here. Blossom says pass your turn 4, or whenever you get to 4 mana, really. It doubles its power and toughness. So this can be a 3 mana 8/8. You just can't play it on turn 3 without risking it getting killed. Mass Purified does just exactly what it says. It affects all champions in this case. So if you have things that trigger, maybe you don't want to play it, maybe you want to get your triggers out of it first. But definitely if you have some champions that have lost some toughness, you might want to go ahead and reset that. But it's a double bladed sword here because if their champions are hurt, you're gonna restore them to full life, or even also purify resets rally effects like we saw with Ogwell. So if they buff their card with rally, it'll shrink it. But if you buff your thing with rally, it'll shrink it too. So it's a great card, very well statted. Just takes a little bit of timing to use, but I think it's overall like really strong.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I really like that way there where, sometimes you want to mass purify, but you're not quite on turn 4. So you're asking yourself this question of, do I want to try to wait and push to get the blossom trigger, or do I want to just roll the dice and try to and hope that the purify will still be, valuable on the turn when I'm ready to push this to an 8/8. So really love that there's some decision trees that are built into the Prince Turt that aren't really easily answerable and probably will result in different decision making based on different game states and boards, which that benefits players that have the ability to kind of like think through those lines. Really like to see that. All right. And so I believe that is there another card here we have for light, or if
No, that
that
was
is
it.
Yeah, that was the last one. So then, what is your thinking about just light in general, and what's your standout card in terms of the effect on the format here from light?
I've been looking at it. I think the most impactful card might actually be Cuddle Honk.
All
Just the
right.
2 mana 3/4 with nesting. Yeah. Light has not had a 1 mana egg available to it in standard like at all. All the other elements have gotten it. This isn't exactly 1 mana, but there are a bunch of light cards you really want to get out, like this Monosfer, Aldrich itself, which is an 8 mana 13/13 to bust your whole team. It's just and it also is good with the Aldrich hero that gets +1/+0 to your light champions. There's a lot going on. I mean, Cacti Piece is great. Prince Turret is great. There are gonna be decks with Monosfer, like getting that out fast. But maybe the most impactful card might just be nesting here.
Yeah, I mean, just some of those top end light has always had some of the best classic finishers, and being able to, charge those out early game. Cuddle Hunt comes down on turn two, so theoretically you're dropping some of these finishers on turn three. That seems really powerful, and the ability to sort of cultivate a timing where the time is right with these retribution cards, that seems really powerful as well, and it fits nicely with the Cuddle Honk at a 4 mana where it's gonna die pretty quickly. All
Yep.
right, well, Tom, thanks so much for going over the light set with us. For all of those that are tuning in, we want to thank you so much. Uh, Follow us, please like and subscribe to the channel, and join us on the Discord. And get ready for this set launch here, March 11th, 2025. Until then, I'm your host, Manifestable, joined here with Tom the Boss Ross. And we want to thank you for being a champion, and we will see you all on the battlefield.
All right. Thanks, everyone.